Hey guys, how's it going? I'm the Duke of Italy, favorite lo-fi music YouTuber, and welcome to a December and June style classic review. I'm just taking a little bit of a break between the next math rock part. I'm back here, as you guys can probably tell. So that's taking some time to build up. But right now, I'm actually doing a very special review for someone out there. This is for my grandmother. Hi, Grandma. It's for Grandma Judy. If you're watching this, hope you enjoy. But I'm covering something I was told you enjoy. So this is a Dolly Parton album. This is from 1975. This is Dolly Parton's The Bargain Store. So I'm not the biggest fan of country music, but if I were to prefer a era of country music, it would definitely be the 1970s and earlier. And then there's like a couple modern albums. And fortunately for us, this is straight from 1975. Funnily enough, this is not one of Dolly Parton's more popular albums, such as Jolene, for example, nor is it from her 60s era where she was just starting and kind of popping under there. But nevertheless, this is a decent little album, and one thing before I actually get into it, this is a very tight 25 minutes straight, so very compact listen. You could listen to this pretty much any time of day, and you're going to get through it. Another thing, very cohesive listen. It's not hard to understand, and unfortunately, that does kind of prevent me from giving it a really high score because it's just, I feel like it could be more ambitious or more trying to do something more interesting. Every song on here is under 3 minutes, which, I mean, you could do good stuff in 30 seconds for a song, but I mean, ultimately, I would prefer a couple songs trying to do something different. Of course, there is some variety here, but its biggest flaw up front is that there's just not enough of it. I'm not saying branch out from country. That's ridiculous. This is Dolly Parton's genre here. But you get a lot of somber, more sad songs here. And the theme of almost every song on here is related to love in some way, shape, or form. Which, as you know, Dolly Parton, she doesn't just sing about that. But of course, you get your country cliches of the time. You get a lot of steel guitar. You got a lot of acoustic guitar, and you've got those wonderful, wonderful vocals brought to you by Dolly Parton. Her vocals for this entire album are just sublime. There is never an issue with them, and in some senses, and on some of the tracks here, I feel that they're even better than I could have even expected. There's some moments where vocal harmonies come in that kind of are used for variety in the songs, and there's some different instrumentation parts here on occasion too. It's a little rare, but it is one of the stronger parts. So without further ado, let's just get into the track list real quick. It'll be pretty quick because it's only 10 songs and they're all under 3 minutes, but let's just break it down. So we start off with The Bargain Store. In my opinion, this is actually the weakest track on the whole album. I'd say it's the only one with like a real flaw in itself as a song, because it's about how Dolly Parton, she compares herself to things you buy at a bargain store, because she's like brokenhearted, she's been through a lot, but I don't mean to be like a simp, but like that kind of makes it seem a little bit like you're used goods in a modern context. So it's a little dated in that terminology. So the appeal it's lost a little bit over time, but nevertheless, it's actually a very, very somber song. It's a very sad message, and I'm sure the metaphor worked really well for the time. If it is a little sexist, but it is a very pretty song. It starts off with this little bass groove that's pretty gripping, and it kind of keeps you going throughout the whole rest of the song. And the instruments are just wonderfully done here. Not super jazzy or anything, but they totally fit the bill. The next song, Kentucky Gambler, was one of my favorites off the whole album. It is portraying someone from Kentucky who goes off to gamble, and he gambles till he reaches a high point, then he gambles all that away, and then he comes back to his family after a really long time, and they met someone new. So I found that was, I mean, it's an old type of story. It's been told a million different times. I don't know if this is the first time, but I doubt that it is. But it's a fun story, and it's a good one. And one of the best parts of this album is that it'll occasionally tell stories, and I'm totally happy with country songs telling stories. I mean, that's been done since like the 50s. Like, that's always a fun concept to me, is when they're telling a story in a country song, because it's so easy to hear the lyrics, and when the singer is given such a front row spot to this, because like the lyrics aren't buried at all, they're clear as day. I like to hear that there's a story going on. It is a clear benefit to the album, but it is a brighter song overall, despite its somewhat dismal tone. It's got some fun guitar playing and some nice arpeggios on the guitar, but it's a strong song overall. The next track is When I'm Gone, which starts off with some rather speedy acoustic guitar playing that uses actually a lot of muted notes that is completely absent from modern day country, which it's a real shame because all these little embellishments on more traditional country is being absent from it today. It's criminal. It's like why even try to portray the genre anymore? You're missing like half the point. And it's all these fun little and sometimes unconventional playing of some pretty traditional folk, country, and rock-based instruments. There's also some electric guitar that solos in here. That's a pretty typical country solo, but it's nice. And the lyrics are straightforward, but they fit the bill yet again. And of course, Dolly Parton sounds great. The next track is The Only Hand You'll Need to Hold. It's a good song. It picks up almost entirely from the tone of the previous track, despite the message being so different and even the emotion being so different, but it flows right into it, which for a country pop album, if they referred to it as pop at the time, I mean, I'm kind of consider it poppy since every song is so short and so straightforward, and it's just basically verse chorus. I mean, I would have rather had variety more than such a direct flow, so I'd have probably a bigger impact into the next song, but it's a cute song and it's totally works in the context of the album so far. The next track, On My Mind Again, starts a pretty significant trend on the album where every song after this will be a very slow and dreary, just super sad type of country song. But on this song, there are some really interesting dynamic shifts, like shifts in the volume during the verse that I found were really interesting. And actually, I don't think I'd heard it in any other type of music at all. So that was a big bonus to the effectiveness of the song. And the lyrics on this track are one of the album's best. They're kind of straightforward, but they're a bit flowery at the same time. And also Dolly, she's really showing off her pipes here in her upper register. It's very serviceable and one of the best songs on the album. The next song is I Want to Be What You Need, which again continues the slow, more dreary country song trend that already was started, and you're going to see it for the next few songs on here. Luckily, they're not that long, so it's not like an endurance test of sad music. And it's also Dolly Parton. You're not exactly being thrown into a Have a Nice Life record here, or some kind of drone piece where it's just really testing your patience and your emotional strength. It's Dolly Parton. It's sad, but it's not going to wreck your day. What makes this song probably different from the other tracks so far is that some vocal harmonies are added in that just give it a little bit more body to the vocal presence as a whole. Other than that, pretty much the same as some other tracks here. Also a similar message to some previous tracks, but not an issue. It's a perfectly serviceable track, and I'm definitely digging it. The next track is Love to Remember, which again continues the slow country ballad pacing that's been going on. And if there's anything that sets this track apart in particular, it's this low rumbly bass line that just progresses throughout the song, and it just gives it just enough momentum to push through the end. The next track is You'll Always Be Special to Me. Now, out of all the slow country ballads here, this is probably the slowest. It even drags just a little bit. If anything sets this apart, it's probably my favorite addition to any of the songs here. It's like at least 2 extra layers of strings in the background. So people are fiddle playing. It gives it like 2 extra layers of harmonies here, which gives it a massive presence and a pretty significant distinction among the other tracks here. So it's those little things that you kind of have to look for here, but they're definitely adding to the album. The next track is He Would Know, which this is a slower but happier track that actually has a totally different meaning from the rest of the tracks here. It is a love song, but it's from Dolly's perspective here, she's already with another man. So she's in love with someone else, and she's talking about how wonderful he would be, but it's basically a song about cheating, but that she can't do it. The message is just a little muddy. I don't quite understand what she's going to do at the end of here, so it's kind of a cliffhanger. To say it isn't a sad message would be a lie. And then there's also like a little instrumental section before there's a key change into another verse, which it's a tactic as old as time, but it's a very effective one, and you'll love to see it. The final track is I'll Never Forget, and this one really picks up the pace and also adds in some really flowery lyrics about love, of course. But if there's anything that sets this track apart overall, and what could have made this probably even a single for the album at the time, is the very memorable hook. If I live forever, I'll never forget. Not that complex, but it's very touching and it's very sweet. And I know it's crazy, but we've reached the end of the album. This is a short little spark, and then it's kind of done. Just a nice batch of love songs and some fun little stories. Nothing too complicated, which unfortunately I like my complicated music. You know, I'm always talking about drone or metal or anything you could think of, but there's nothing wrong with this. This is perfectly serviceable. I totally would play this on a road trip or anything really. It's a serviceable album, and it's 25-minute runtime. While it is a detriment to the quality of the project, I'd say overall, I think it gives it more of a niche purpose, and a sense of utility. But overall, I'm feeling a Holy Roman Empire here. It's a solid little effort from Dolly Parton. I know some of her other projects probably have a bit more diversity in the track listing, which I might have to check out in the future, maybe for some classic review or at some point. But this was pretty solid, a pretty good introduction to Dolly's albums. I've never actually listened to a Dolly Parton album before this one, but I'm sure I'll probably check out Jolene or something in the future. But this was solid. Once again, hi Grandma. Hope you're doing well out there. I know times are crazy, but hope you enjoyed this review. I know you don't understand what I'm saying a lot, but I hope you didn't know. But that's about it. If you guys are doing well out there, hope you're all doing just fine. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, go ahead and comment down below. I'd love if you liked my video or subscribe to my channel. I talk about music pretty much weekly. Go ahead and join my Discord server in the description if you want to keep tabs on things that I'm recommending. I do that pretty much weekly because I like to find a lot of cool new stuff to show you guys off that not a lot of people talk about. But also my Twitter and Instagram are in the description if you guys want to contact me there or just follow and see what I'm up to. I'd love to have you guys there as well. That's about it. Hope you guys are all doing well out there. Have a good day and bye.